sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes here live on this Saturday morning, ready to talk a little bit about some college sports, also some NBA talk, a little bit of everything here on this Saturday morning. There was a meeting yesterday in Washington, D.C. to talk about college athletics and how they can go about fixing this thing, because we all know that college athletics is in shambles. Also, a 16-year-old, can you believe it? A 16-year-old sophomore out of the state of Texas in high school ran a 9.88 in the 100 meters. That is unbelievable. And also, we got the NCAA basketball season coming to an end, and we're going to talk a little bit of tournament talk here on the show today. Also, Jason Tatum made his return to the Boston Celtics last night, so we also want to mention that as well. Thank you for joining us. I got my man, One Take Zaya, in the building with us. How you feeling, One Take?
Man, I'm good, man. Hey, it's about to be a very sports eventful day for me, man. We're going to shoot this podcast. We're going to shoot this podcast, and then I'm going to head up to the barn and watch some of these district final games, man.
For sure. We also got our man, SEC Sean, in the building with us. How you feeling, SEC Sean?
Oh, man, we're doing good. Like Zay said, we got a heck of a sports day. We got all kinds of the end of the regular season, man. You got all kinds of stuff going on today. It's a great day.
Yeah, for sure. We also got our man Doug in the building with us in the chat. Welcome, Doug. We appreciate you. I know you out there on that grind, getting that bread, making a good day out there. If you see any dogs coming your way, jump a fence or two.
Look, I know Doug. If Doug jumps a fence, he's going to be in a hospital with a pulled groin or something.
Well, we don't want that for you, Doug. We don't want that for you. Let's talk a little bit about this meeting yesterday. They had some really, really, really important people in the building. President Trump called several big wigs to come and have a conversation about how they can fix college athletics. We know college athletics is dealing with a lot of issues when it comes to NIL, the transfer portal, the calendar, all of that good stuff. Also on the basketball end, with players being able to come from the pro ranks in other countries and then coming and playing college basketball after they already experienced some professional basketball in another country. All of those things were on the table. They had the likes of a Nick Saban, Condoleezza Rice, Tiger Woods, Tim Tebow, Urban Meyer. The list goes on and on and on. Commissioners from every single Power Four conference, a whole lot of prominent people. What's your thoughts on this meeting? Is it a good idea for those political figures to take on this task of trying to help fix college athletics?
Somebody needs to. I mean, we all agree, I think it's broken. I mean, we got people playing, 7, 8, 9 years of college football. I mentioned that one guy a few shows back from up in one of the smaller schools that just got granted his 9th year of eligibility. I mean, something needs to get done. What it is, I don't know. But, I mean, political people getting involved, I mean, I don't know about all that. I mean, I think there's bigger issues to deal with. But, people like your Sabans and your commissioners and your Tebows and your former, I mean, those people could probably figure something out. I mean, us as fans could probably figure something out to solve this problem. But we don't have the clout that they have. So I don't know. I don't have a problem with them getting involved. I mean, to an extent, because something needs to get done. This is getting out of hand.
So good morning to you all. Hope you all are having a fabulous morning. Shout out to the chat. Man, I found that situation, the meeting in Washington D.C. educational. If anything, I didn't get to finish the whole thing, but I did see a huge part of it. Um, and it brought a lot of things to light. You know, a lot of good points were made. A lot of good information was given out. Do I think the politicians should be getting involved in a perfect world? No. But I agree with SEC Sean. Some things are broken and need to be fixed. It doesn't seem like the NCAA and all the leaders of college football have been able to get this thing right. Now, I know even with the politicians involved, this isn't going to be a perfect system. There's a lot of give and take and negotiation. And I think that the main things they need to get done if they're going to work on this is eligibility, uh, the other teams poaching smaller schools players, and I really hate to see that smaller athletic programs, you know, fencing, volleyball, or sports like that, have been in trouble, and a lot of those teams have folded. So I think they definitely need to get that fixed because I think everybody, no matter what sports you play, I think you should have an opportunity to play your sport in college. I mean, a lot of great points were made, man. I mean, the pay for play and you know NIL not actually being NIL, but really at the end of the day being paid for play. So much money being involved, and I gotta say, I'm pro players getting money. Don't get that fact twisted, but they gotta get it under control. I think one of the lawmakers made a great point with what did he say? He said something to the effect of um my goodness, it was a lot of great points. I can't remember that specific one, but man, it shed a light to a lot of different things. I'm not the biggest on politicians getting involved in sports, but oh yeah, they were saying that if the NCAA, I remember now. Sorry guys, they were saying if the NCAA, you know, makes a ruling on something, then whoever they ruled against, they just go to the local judge and they reverse it. So not having any teeth in the game. I think, you know, and we heard the president, you know, being critical to a lot of those judges, saying how they don't know anything about sports or what's going on in the NCAA, and they're just making rulings. Whether that be true or not, I don't know, but I definitely would like to see some changes in college football eligibility, getting the transfer portal under control, not letting these bigger schools poach players, and you know, a lot of situations like that is what I like to see overturned, and them figuring out how to keep these smaller athletic programs in business.
Hey, I'm all for, you know, people who we call our brightest minds in the sport sitting down and bouncing ideas off of each other. You know, I ain't get to read about the meeting in depth of what post game was able to, but I appreciate post game for dropping that knowledge on us. You know what I mean? It sounded like they was bouncing good ideas though, so that's a start though. But where does this lead to? You know, who at the bottom line is it going to be the president that start writing things into law? So, like I said, I'm all for people who we call our brightest minds being into a sit down and bouncing ideas and try to figure this thing out. Because if we keep going the route we going, college sports is just going to die, and I don't want college sports to die.
Yeah, I like the fact that somebody cared enough to know that listen, this thing is in a pretty bad spot right now. We need to get this thing fixed. We talk about it a lot on this show. I hear it a lot on other shows as well. how college athletics is just sort of a mess right now. And if these politicians and President Trump want to pull a group of people together to try to get this thing from being the can getting kicked down the road, I'm all for that. Uh, of course, we know that they have some other things that they could be doing. Maybe once this meeting is over, they can sort of form a committee with some people who can continue to work on this thing and get the NCAA back to the point where they have all the teeth that they need to make rulings on everything that comes across the desk. And if there is a situation where a player or whatever entity decides they want to take the ruling to court, to litigation, then there should be a body of people who make a ruling on that based on whatever the rule is, the policy is, whatever the law is about the player's eligibility, about NIL, about the transfer portal, about the calendar, whatever the case may be. Because right now it looks like we got lawlessness and people can just pretty much do whatever they want. And I don't like that aspect of it. One thing that I didn't particularly care for, though, was the fact that they didn't have any current college athletes on this panel in this discussion. There, you gotta have your stakeholders. They gotta be there, bro. The people who are the clients, they gotta be there in discussions like this because even though you have the likes of a Tim Tebow and some other former players, they didn't play during the NIL era. They didn't play during the transfer portal era. So although they are bright minds, they don't necessarily have all of the answers to what's going on like the players who are actually involved in it. So I would have liked to have seen some players involved in it. And maybe as college players, they might want to find somebody who could be their spokesperson for them. And I think that enough college athletes, they talk to each other on social media, phone calls, texts, that they can find somebody that they respect across each one of these athletic platforms, whether it be basketball, football, whatever, to represent them in needs like this. So I would like to see that happen. But I like the fact that somebody is taking the initiative to do something about it.
Yeah, and if I could add fast, I think there's a level of hypocrisy amongst the coaches who are complaining about the money side of the NIL transfer era. Now, let me start by saying I do agree this could be the money side of athletes being paid could be regulated better. But let's not act like for 1 second that some of these people who were complaining to the president weren't dropping off brown paper bags before the NIL transfer portal era.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Well, I mean, I saw President Trump mention that he's going to take all of it into account and have an executive order written within the week. Now, I mean, his big statement after that was, we know we're going to get sued because, these people are going to fight this because these kids, all the money and all that's going to change and it's going to whatever. But you got people like Cody Campbell out of Texas Tech, billionaire donor out there, who's even saying we got to get this money under control. And I was like, okay, dude, you just spent the most money in NIL last year for Texas Tech, and now you're saying we got to stop it. So, what's like you said, Post, I mean, these dudes are been dropping money off for years. I mean, I guarantee you we know it was happening at SMU back in the day. They gave them the death penalty.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it needs to be fixed. It does need to be fixed for sure. But how? I don't know.
Yeah, I hope they continue to work on it, man, so that we can get something in place that at least starts to fix this thing in the right direction. The NCAA has a 568-page document about why Trinidad Chandler shouldn't be able to play college football next season. Are any of you willing to read that 568 pages?
No. Not unless I was making a decision on the young man's future. Now, if I'm, going through litigation, his lawyer, his representation, the courts, whatever the case may be, of course I'm going to read it. I have to. You got to make a decision on it, so you better be knowledgeable and have read all the facts. So if I'm in that situation, yeah, I'll read 568 pages to help me, to inform me and lead me to make the best decision. But like me, like not being involved in any of that, no, sir.
Yeah, 568 pages seems pretty long for this topic, for about the could he play. Would I read it? How many 568 of those pages have pictures? Because if it's about 350, then yeah, I'd probably sit down and read that. But if it's like one page with a picture, I'm probably not going to tune in and read that. I agree with Post. I'm not a decision maker on this, so I'm not going to tune in and read it. I'm going to let the chips fall where they may. So, yeah, that's too long.
Yeah, I'm not going to read it either. But one thing I will do is I'll pay attention close enough to see when people who will take the time to read it will drop an important nugget here or there, and then that might probe me to want to go to one of those pages to try to get a little bit more context to it. I might do that, but outside of that, I'm not going to sit down and read 568 pages. But what I do hope happens is the way they wrote it and what they wrote about, I hope it is not necessarily just only geared towards Trinidad Chambers, but also towards anybody who is trying to get another year of eligibility outside of the eligibility that they already exhausted. So if it's talking about something like that, I hope that that's the case. But I will only be paying attention to it just to catch a nugget here and there from someone who has read it. One take, Zay, what do you think about that 568-page document about Trinidad Chambers?
I think it's hilarious. Like, why are we writing books about stuff like that? Hold on. Oh, man, my music was playing. But could y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I don't understand like why we're writing books about that. Like, just let your decision be your decision and be done with it. Like, why are we writing 596-page books about the reason why you chose? We already understand, like, y'all at the NCAA, y'all said he can't play, he shouldn't play. I don't even care about the reason. I ain't want him to get extra year anyway. So I really don't even care. But I think it's real wild that we're wasting our time and efforts on writing a 596 page book on why this dude can't play. Like, I just think it's funny for real. I don't even know how to take it serious.
Yeah, the thing for me is also is you take all this time to write 568 pages when you probably could have done it in a shorter amount of time. Do you want people to just to see how smart you are or to see how redundant you can be that you have to go all the way to 568 pages? The reality is you probably already had something in place that says if this, and this happens, then that means that your eligibility has run out. So that should be the end of the game. But I don't know. Maybe they felt the need to have to do that because they feel like maybe they want to gain some more of their strength back, and they figured if they can make it long, they could probably bore somebody to death that they say, the hell with it, he can't play. I don't know. What's your thoughts on a 16-year-old Dillion Mitchell of C.E. King High School in Texas, who ran a 9.88 100-meter dash. I believe it was wind aided. What's your thoughts on that? We've been talking about speed for the last maybe week or two and how these athletes are just becoming so freaking fast, man. And we thought Usain Bolt was a fast dude, and he is. He's the fastest in the world. What do y'all think about this at 16 years old, running a 9.88?
Extremely impressive. And I mean, shout out to that young man, because what that tells me is he's put the work in. He's put the work in, and he's focused and disciplined. Now, I know we've been talking about speed, as you mentioned, Rob, but I think the young athletes of today are benefiting from the information era of the world. They have more information than my generation, than y'all's generations. Like, this generation here of athletes has all the info. If you want to become a great athlete, all the information is right there in front of you. So kudos to them for taking the information that they're blessed with in today's era of sports, and having the discipline to apply it to their craft.
$100%. I mean, I know it was wind aided. I don't care. 9.88 is cooking. He's from, a little backstory on him. He's from Houston, Texas, C.E. King High School. Helped as a freshman lead them to their first ever state title appearance in football. Came from the same high school as Travion Williams, former Texas A&M running back, went to the Cincinnati Bengals, now with the Cleveland Browns, I believe, on the practice squad or whatever. But, you know, it's a inner city school, not one of the big, huge power programs you hear of in Texas. But that guy, saw him play in the state championship game. That kid was electric as a freshman against DeSoto High School, who's really, really good. And that kid, when he got the ball, you just held your breath because you didn't know what was fixing to happen. He's another one of the long lines of track athletes coming out of that state of Texas. I mean, I can tell you a guy's name you can go watch real quick, and you can watch the last lap of the 4x400 relay, and you'll blow your mind. When he got the baton, the guy in first place was halfway around the first corner, and he reeled him in. Pretty crazy, but electric coming out of that school, that area, that community. That's really, really big. That kid's going to be huge coming in the next few years. Just so we'll see where he goes. But yeah, he's impressive.
Yeah, definitely kudos to that young man and the work that he put in, as post game said, and the fact that even though he's coming from an area where SEC Sean said is like inner city, he's taking advantage of all of the resources that he has, and he went out there and performed because he put that work in. So kudos to him. I really like the fact that, you know, athletes nowadays, man, they get it. And they know whenever they have a specific skill set or talent, they're doing everything they can to hone in on that skill set. I know when I was growing up, we played so many different sports that we really didn't focus in on necessarily the one or two that we were really, really, really talented at. Like it seems like this young man is doing. We were playing a little bit of everything, and that probably took away from some of the things that we could have did if we would just focused maybe on baseball and football, or maybe basketball and football, or maybe football and basketball, maybe it was wrestling and track, whatever the case may be. We were doing so many different sports that we didn't necessarily hone in on the one or two sports that we were really, really, really talented at. So kudos to that young man for running that 9.88. Hopefully we'll see him on the Olympic circuit, standing on the top of the podium with a gold medal someday. What's your thoughts on that one? One take, Zaya.
Yeah, can't he run in the Olympics like now?
Yeah, he can.
He got Olympic speed. He's gonna be. I think we're gonna see him next year. The whole world will know about him soon. Short and sweet. Y'all said everything, So short and sweet. He's a burner, bro.
I misspoke. He is actually a sophomore.
Sophomore, yeah.
Yeah. I thought he was a freshman, but no, he's a sophomore.
Hey, running a time like that as a sophomore, he probably gonna break every Olympic record there is.
Dude, he's crazy. I don't know. I don't know if you saw it, Zay, but you look at that kid, he don't look like a sophomore in high school.
Where he from? Texas?
Yeah, C.E. King High School. Yeah.
What's in the water in Texas, man?
I can't tell you. Because then everybody moved down there.
It's on the radar.
Coming out of your major metroplex, and it's the same in other areas too. I'm not saying it's only Texas. Don't anybody take that wrong. But there are so many training facilities in the city of Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio. The weather, you can do any sport all year long. I mean, these kids can just get out there and just run and run and run. My son would have told you back when he played high school football, they were the only football team in the state that when they finished football practice, they hit the track and had track practice following football practice every day. And they weren't running, sprints. They were running 400s, even the linemen. So it's just, you have all the post, you said it, they have all the abilities right there, but you have to have it in your head and your heart to want it. And a kid like that is taking every advantage of everything given to him to maximize his craft.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We got our man Parlay Poe in the chat with us. What's happening, Parlay Poe? Let's turn our attention to some NCAA basketball. We know that this is going to finish the regular season this Sunday, I believe is the last game, maybe Monday. Can you see the SEC getting 11 teams in the tournament? Florida, Bama, Arkansas, Tennessee, Missouri, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, and Auburn. Last year, they got 14 in the tournament. Can you see them getting 11 this year? Auburn's record is not that great. They're right at the bottom of that thing. Do you think they get 11 teams in?
I don't think so. I think the last team on that list is Auburn. I think they don't make it in. I think some of these teams sneak in: Georgia, Kentucky, A&M, Vandy. I can see them getting in. But I mean, I was listening to somebody, I forget who it was, but they were saying that if Miami of Ohio doesn't win their conference championship, they could still get in. They should still get in. And they could steal a bid from one of those SEC teams, one of those Big Ten teams. So that's something interesting to monitor as we head to March Madness.
Yeah, man, I don't see it. I would have to really do some breakdowns on maybe like 5 through 11 to see what quality wins they got and what losses they have, bad losses they have. Because when you start breaking down some of these schedules and these resumes, quad one wins we know them are very vital, but also bad losses can keep you out too. So we about that time though. As soon as conference play come, conference tournament play come, I start really breaking down schedules, but I don't see it because The Big Ten got the same range amount of teams right there where they're on the bubble. Some teams looking in, some teams might be the last such and such teams in. But when you really start going through it, whoever got the better wins on their resume is probably going to reign supreme. And I wonder which one of them teams, because they got a group of 10 or 7 teams in conference play. I wonder which one of them teams don't got really no good wins out of them 10 and 7 teams, because that's very possible. They could have beat up on everybody under them and not did nothing with none of the other teams on their schedule. So I think that's you gotta dive deep into these resumes when you're talking about entrance into March Madness.
Yeah, I don't think that they're going to get 11 in either. And like my man Parlay Post said, that Auburn is on that line and last 4 out. I don't think Auburn should get in. Of course, they were one of the top teams in the country last year. This year they just didn't have the people. They had some guys that decided to transfer out of there after they made that run last year. I don't think they get in. I also feel like if Texas does not beat Oklahoma and they don't do well in the tournament, they could also be a team that could possibly not make that tournament. I think they're going to get in. They're going to probably get lucky, but I mean they might even get a play-in game like they did last year, because their resume, although they beat Alabama and a couple of other teams, it's not that great, especially once it comes to tournament time. I mean, once it comes to conference play. It's not that great of a resume, but they definitely need to beat Oklahoma.
Can you put that list up again, Rob?
Yeah.
I don't see the SEC getting 11 at all. I think right now your line ends right between that Georgia-Texas mark, and it slides to the left. Georgia, Kentucky, A&M, Vandy, all of them are in.
Mm-hmm.
Texas, if they lose to OU, I don't even think if they have a run in the tournament, it's going to help them. Maybe for a play-in spot, you might be right. But if they lose to Oklahoma, who's 6-11 in conference right now and 16-14 overall, and I mean that game is in Norman, so that's a little different. But if they lose to Oklahoma, I don't see them getting in. Auburn, I don't see Auburn getting in. Auburn's just the committee also looks at the eye test and look how they finished the season. They've been way down. Granted, A&M has been too, but I think that A&M win over Kentucky is enough to push them in. Especially if all the talk's been around Buckyball and last coach and no roster and the storyline. So I think that's going to maybe help A&M with the storyline get in. But I see the SEC get 9 at the max 10, and 10 would be the Texas team if they beat OU and maybe win a game in the conference tournament.
Yeah. I like what you said there. Let's turn our attentions to the ACC. Will the ACC get 12 teams in with Virginia Tech, SMU, and Stanford all being 9-11, 8-9 in conference? Do you think those last 3 teams could possibly give the ACC 12 teams in this year's tournament?
Absolutely not. The ACC is nowhere near getting 12 teams in. Stanford, Virginia Tech, SMU maybe, but I don't think ACC is probably the conference with the least depth amongst the major conferences. When you talk about the Big Ten and SEC and the Big 12, they probably have the least amount of depth as far as teams making the NCAA tournament. So I don't think they're going to reach that number.
I don't either.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sean.
Okay. I don't see it either. Same thing Post said. I think the ACC is really, really top heavy now. I mean, SMU might get in, depending on what they do in their ACC tournament. I know if A&M gets in, SMU does have a head-to-head over A&M, so that can't hurt them. So I don't see them getting that many teams in. I think maybe you get to maybe a Louisville, then that might be your cutoff line for the ACC, depending on what happens in their conference tournament, of course.
Yeah, I see 7, maybe 9 at best. Best case scenario, but nah, I don't think they touching double digits at all either.
Yeah, our man Parlay Post said no to the ACC getting 12 teams in, and he also said with Auburn losing Bruce Pearl, that also hurt them as well this basketball season. I don't think that the ACC gets 12 in there either. They may get double digits and get 10 though. I think that might be possible for them, but I mean, do they really even deserve 10? 9 would probably be their best case scenario. I just don't think that conference was deep at all, talent wise. So those teams who got records that look pretty good on paper, probably as our man One Take Zaya said, you really got to go look at the schedule and see what kind of quad one wins did they get. Or did they play a team that's at the bottom of the barrel twice in conference and mess around and get 2 wins over a team that we all know is horrible? So you definitely got to go look at the schedule in this case for the ACC. But I don't think they get 12 in, but it's possible that they might get lucky and get 10 teams in this tournament. AJ and BYU are 20-10 and 8-9 in conference. A losing record in conference and 10th in the league. Do the committee put them in because of AJ, like they did Texas because of Trey Johnson last year? Do you think he's going to get the Trey Johnson treatment and make it into the tournament this year with that BYU team?
I don't think it's the Trey Johnson treatment. I think it's the analytics of their schedule. I am one to believe that the Big 12 is the strongest conference this season, top to bottom. They play in the Big 12. They had some good wins. They had some good losses. If a good loss is a thing. So yeah, I think a little bit of that is that you got a star player like AJ DeBansa on that squad who you would like to sprinkle into the tournament. So I think they get in by the skin of their teeth. They're definitely on the bubble, but I think their resume, even though they only got 8 wins in that Big 12 conference, again, I believe it's the strongest conference top to bottom. So I think the analytics of their schedule is going to put them over the top and get them in. And it doesn't hurt to have a top two overall NBA pick on your squad. So yeah, and also that the conference tournament could really solidify them as a March Madness tournament team.
You're on mute. One Take. You're on mute.
This one get tricky for me because this the thing. Ever since Richie Saunders went down, I think they're kind of a different team. And I think you really only could say they got one quad one win, which is Iowa State, I believe they beat. And then on top of that, they just lost to 2 teams that's a little bit ahead of them in conference play. One being West Virginia, one being Cincinnati, their last 2 games. Cincinnati got the same quad one win against Iowa State, but they also beat Kansas and I think somebody else. So yeah, they're 20-10, Cincy 17-13. But like when you look at it, Cincy don't really got the bad losses they got either. We just seen BYU get ran off the floor not too long ago. They lost like by 25 or something to who was it? Was it Texas Tech, I believe? So I don't know. I think it's going to really come down to whoever choosing to put these teams in values the most. and maybe do they take who's been playing better lately into effect? Because I think Cincy has been a better team of late than and I think it's gonna come down to about them three teams in the Big 12 of how many teams they're gonna get in, and it's BYU, West Virginia, and Cincy. So I don't know, man. This one is tricky. If I had to say right now, I would say they're out looking in. And you still can do something in like conference championship weekend. So this is not a story that she wrote yet. Because let's say since he lose first round and BYU can win 2 games, you get a bump from that. So, but right now I got BYU sitting out, and we done seen them leave some dudes out of the tournament before. Like I remember when they left Mike Beasley out, and I was like, "What are y'all doing?"
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati, I agree with you, is playing better right now. I mean, they just blasted BYU. It was like 91-78 or something. It wasn't even good. BYU's on a 3-game losing streak right now. Cincinnati, West Virginia, and I don't remember who else they lost to. Somebody they shouldn't have, though. I think it's going to come down. I agree with that. Cincinnati, BYU, West Virginia. I think BYU probably gets in. We'll know today. If they beat Texas Tech, then I think they're in. If they lose to Tech and then say lose in the first round of the Big 12 tournament, then I think they're out. But a win versus Texas Tech could be huge. And TCU's right there too, at 20-10, and they're playing Cincinnati today. So the Big 12 is by far, I think, the deepest, or not maybe the deepest, but the top heaviest conference. I mean, they got 4 teams in the top 10. So they have quality losses, I guess you could say, but they don't really have a bunch of signature wins. What'd you say, Zay? They got 1 quad 1?
Yeah.
I mean, a team like A&M has 5. So, yeah, I don't know. I think they're in, but I think they're sitting on the back end of that caboose, and somebody's got the binoculars looking backwards, watching everybody come at them. So we're going to see what happens.
Yeah, I think the verdict is still out on them as well. It would be nice to see, AJ being the player that he is, to be able to get into the tournament, just like Trey Johnson was able to do last year. I really don't think they're a good team at all. I don't see them winning a game in their conference tournament. I don't see them winning the game if they make it into the NCAA tournament. But like I said, AJ is a great player, and I would like to see him in the tournament. But I think they're right on the fence, and I think the verdict is still out, and the committee is going to have to see what they do against Tech, and they're going to have to see what they do in this tournament before they finally will write that final story for them, whether it be in or out. But they're going to have to. They got some work to do in order to get in my opinion. The Big Ten has a slim chance of getting 10 teams in the tournament. Will Indiana get in as a play-in team at 18-12, 9-10 in conference?
I don't think Indiana gets in. Again, these are going to these bubbles right here with these Indianas, Georgias, Indiana, Auburns, Texases. You're going to have to watch these small conferences. Look for bid stealers, which, Miami of Ohio is a bid stealer. They in that conference, there could be a bid stealer coming out of there. So a lot's going to determine what are you going to get in the conference tournament from Indiana. I remember a couple years ago, I don't remember exactly 2-3 years ago, Ohio State was nowhere near getting into the tournament and almost wound up winning the Big Ten, went on a run in the Big Ten tournament and almost made it in. So somebody get hot, you never know what's going to happen. You go back to Connecticut years ago when they were barely in or whatever, and then went 6 game on just a heater and won the whole thing, won the tournament, won the national title. So I don't know. I don't know that Indiana gets in, but we're just going to have to play that by ear. I'd take BYU over Indiana.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think Indiana is a March Madness team. I just don't. I also agree with BYU. I would take BYU in that resume over Indiana's right now. So I don't think Indiana gets into the dance.
Yeah, they not getting there. They got to win the conference championship. That's the only way I see them getting there. They don't have no wins over. I don't even think they have a win over a ranked opponent this year.
Well, Parlay Post said no as well. I don't think Indiana gets in either, but I think you all made a really good point about some of these smaller conferences and these teams that are on the bubble. The teams that are on the bubble, they really need for the best team in those conferences who might already have an automatic bid to win their conference tournaments, so that some team who is not going to be penciled into the tournament mess around and win that daggone tournament, conference tournament, and to mess around and get in and take a spot from one of those bubble teams. I don't think Indiana is a bubble team at all. I think they're just flat on out. But teams like Texas, BYU, Auburn, that might have a chance to get in a play-in game or something like that, they really need for all the dominant conference champion teams to win their conference and not let somebody come in and steal a spot from them.
Yeah, we played them today too at 5:30.
Y'all got Indiana?
Yep.
Do you think your boy is going to get the scoring record?
He can get it, but Junie just came back, and Junie been on a heater since he been back. It's tough to call though. I hope he get it though, because honestly, he's kind of pushing us back out of that black cloud that we've been in Ohio State basketball. We still not where we need to be, but just his loyalty and the importance of it that it was for him to stay in the program even through these rough last few years. You know, I commend that. So I kind of hope he get it. And I'm just a Bruce Thornton fan. I hope they give him a look in the NBA, because he's just a strong body. Like, he's just a physically built dude, and when he really want to get buckets, he really can. And I like the way he controlled the team. So I'm rooting for him to break it. You know, records are meant to be broken anyway.
Yeah, that's a fact. What a committee!
Scoring record.
He's. I don't. Oh, you said what do we need?
Yeah,
I don't know how many it is, but
that's like the tournament, the Big Ten tournament, and all that counts for all these stats too. So if he's within 50, he'll get it. You know.
Yeah, it's possible. Would a committee give UConn that final number 1 seed? What's your argument for or against that?
I mean, I think Florida has a case, especially if they're able to win the SEC tournament, which I like their chances. I know UConn plays in not the toughest conference. I think the Big East, it's really UConn, St. John's, maybe Seton Hall. But the thing is, while the Big East isn't a dominant conference, it has good teams in there, just not elite ones. But I think UConn has a hell of an argument for that number 1 seed. They've beaten teams like Kansas. They had good loss against Arizona. They've beaten St. John's. They've beaten BYU. They've beaten Illinois. And teams like that. So I think they're worthy of a number 1 seed. But if Florida is able to win the SEC conference, I think now you have a conversation for that number one spot, and they may give Florida the edge due to the SEC conference being perceived as the stronger conference. But that's the only scenario where I can see they don't get one, because I like UConn's resume. You can talk about the Big East, but their non-conference schedule was brutal, and they did well with that. So I'm fine with UConn being the number one seed.
Well, I thought Zay was going to jump in, but I guess he was waiting. We were waiting on each other.
I can.
No, we're good. I think it's Florida, and call me an SEC homer, call me what you will. The one thing, the wins you ran off were really impressive post game. They also beat Florida head to head. Now, that Florida team ain't this Florida team. So I think Florida, I've been saying it for a while, Florida is just a scary, nasty team to play with all that size. And if them guards are on like they have been lately, I mean, Florida's just destroying people. 111 to 77 over Arkansas. I mean, they're just beating teams down. I mean, that was without, Tyler Howe. He didn't play in that game. And they still, he played in that game. Sorry, that was the Mississippi State game. He sat out. So I think Florida's one of the number one seeds for sure, in my mind. And I think exactly what you said. They're going to consider the SEC as a better, deeper, stronger conference than the Big East. And I think that's going to push Florida ahead of UConn.
Yeah, better, deeper, stronger. And I think when you weigh into the fact, if you take in maybe the top 8 or 9 ranked teams in the country, I think UConn probably got the worst loss out of all of them. I think that's going to keep them off the one line. They'd be a strong 2 seed, maybe the first or second overall 2 seed, but I think that loss to Creighton late January is going to keep them off that 1 seed. I don't think none of the top 8 teams got a bad loss like that.
Yeah, I really feel like Florida is a better team than UConn, and they're probably more deserving at this point to get that last number 1 seed. And I think if you was to look at the resume of all of these teams who could possibly get a number 1 seed, I think it's clear that Duke, Michigan, Arizona should get one of them. And I think the next best team after those 3 is Florida, and I think that they should get that last number 1 seed. I just don't see UConn getting it, even though they got them ranked 4th in the country, I think, in the AP poll. I just think that this Florida team is a better team than them and would be a better team to have on that number 1 line. But I guess we'll have to wait and see once the selection show takes place who gets that last number 1 seed. But I think we all probably agree that Duke, Arizona, and Michigan are definitely going to be number 1 seeds. We just got to see who that last one is going to be. Anything else y'all want to talk about before we wrap up? I know Jason Tatum went out there yesterday. What y'all think about that?
Real quick, before we jump on to Tatum real quick, I'll jump on that too. But going back to the Florida UConn thing, you got to look at the eye test. Florida's on a 10-game winning streak in the SEC play. That's impressive. So as far as Tatum, hated that he came back against my Mavericks, but it is what it is. First game back, almost puts up a triple-double. 15, 12, and 7. And looked bad when the game first started. He was off. You could tell rust was there, but found his rhythm. I think Boston's scary right now. If he's playing 15, if he's putting up 15, 12, and 7 with what they've already been doing, I think Boston's just crazy scary.
Man, Tatum. Oh, go ahead. Hey, Tatum, man.
Y'all gonna see. I got a special show coming to y'all Monday, man, where we gonna touch in on this topic. But that man is a monster. We keep on asking who is the number one on that team, and I kind of think it's a Batman Robin type of situation. But that dude, bro, this is just crazy to see what he just did off of tearing the Achilles and coming back 10 months after that, bro. Like they going like 3 weeks. That dunk he had where he rimmed it in like 3-4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks when he get his legs under him, he gonna be all the way back, and ain't nobody gonna be able to do nothing with them, bro. On the east side at least, ain't nobody gonna be. But they lost Vucevic too, so that's a big loss. They say he should be back before the playoffs though, so that was a big loss though because he's one of the key pieces they got in before trade deadline. But as long as they healthy, I think they coming out the east again, man.
Yeah, I mean, me and Rob talked about it on Thursday stream. I'm extremely impressed with the work ethic, the updates in sports medicine because 10 months, like Zay was saying, is absolutely just a special situation. And, I love seeing athletes, have moments like that and come back, especially quicker than expected. So shout out to Tatum for putting the work in, man. It's a beautiful thing to see. Now, what I must say is that a lot of us didn't expect Tatum to come right back in. I know I didn't, right back into the starting lineup. So the reports ended up being true about how he was looking in the D League and practicing with the D League. So, I mean, to me, to go with the coaching, this roster that is built around Brown and Tatum, I think Tatum is only going to get better and better. He seems to be fully healthy. I think Boston is definitely the favorite to come out the East because Tatum's going to get better and better, and they already have a great roster and a great coaching staff. So if Tatum is able to get back in rare form, I think Boston is going to be the favorites, at least for me, out of the East, and they're going to give the West trouble, whoever they see. Because, like I said on Thursday stream, those two big wings on the perimeter at that level of basketball is extremely difficult to deal with. So, shout out to Jason Tatum on his return, and all this is said from the mouth of a Laker fan.
Yeah, kudos to Jason Tatum, man, and his return back to the Celtics. I mean, almost getting a triple double in that first game is awesome. When we talked about him earlier in the week, I didn't know if they would bring him back and he would be in the starting lineup. I kind of wanted him to come with that second unit and get his feet wet a little bit first, and then eventually find himself in the starting rotation with them. But I guess they knew more than I did about his recovery and where he was in terms of being able to get out there and play. This is a really, really scary team with those two guys, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I think they just made it a little bit more difficult for my 76ers, who I was hoping was going to be able to get Embiid back healthy and make a run out of the East. It's probably not going to happen because the Celtics has been a 76er killer for the last maybe decade or so. Kudos to Jason Tatum, man. Congratulations. I'm glad you're back. Hopefully he can continue to get better, get his lift back in his legs, get his timing and all that back. And we're going to get to see how great of a player he was before and how great he's a player he's going to be going forward. So kudos to him. Anything else y'all want to drop before we wrap up?
I just
Yeah, I
wish
got
my Lakers would have drafted Jason Tatum because I believe in that draft. They took, I believe it was Brandon Ingram over, but man, that they would have took Tatum.
yeah. Couple quick things. First off, if you're not supporting or following or rooting for your local Columbus National Hockey League team, the Blue Jackets, you need to. They're 1 point out of the playoffs. So that team is good. They're coming on at the right time. If you follow hockey, man, last night was the game of the year. Dallas and Colorado, the two best teams in the whole NHL, played to a 5-4 shootout and final in the shootout. Unfortunately, Colorado won and ruined my Stars' 10-game winning streak they were on, but that's all right. We start another one. Like I said, big day of sports for me. Got basketball going. We play LSU. In an hour, I got my NASCAR cranking up, followed by the IndyCar, followed by the other NASCAR. So I'm going to drop later on today my preview. I'm waiting for qualifying to be over so I can set the preview a little better in my fantasy and all that stuff. So I'll be going on live here a couple hours and do my previews. So if y'all ain't busy, jump on.
Yeah. Hey, just a correction.
We can talk about Michael Jordan.
Nobody wants to talk about Michael Jordan. He did just three-peat though. But we gotta give him love. But Bruce Thornton is gonna break that record today. He is 12 points back. So he got that record in the bag. Kudos to him. And my nephew played for Reynoldsburg district final today at 4:45. They gonna win. He gonna get him a medal today, you know, but he ain't playing. He twisted his ankle, and they don't really need him today. So we won't rest him up and keep on icing him up and look forward to this regional semifinal game. You know what I'm saying? But we hitting the barn in a little bit. As the action already started. I love that they put this high school basketball back on the fairgrounds, man. It's just a different vibe. It's just a way total. I like ODU though. Anytime them games be at ODU, you get bangers. It's just the gym is so packed. It's like it just you know what I'm saying, Rob. It's just different. So I'm about to head up to the barn in a minute.
Yeah, that's you need to tell him, man. A sprained ankle. Come on, man. Tatum came back in 10 months, bro.
Nah. Cause listen, the team they play today, they good. But they only got one guy, you know what I'm saying? And he not their guy for real. But he always guarding the best player. So you got to get that ankle back up to speed. You feel what I'm saying? Like he always guarding the best player. So go ahead, rest today. We don't even need you. We'll get through today. You know what I'm saying?
And back in our day, that was, man, it was, what was it? Ice and elevate, and then rapid fire. I said back in our day.
Hey, he ain't been wearing his ankle braces or getting taped for the last 5 games. That's his fault.
Come on, bro. You got to get taped up.
Then all these kids like these Ja Morants and these Kobe's, they ain't got no ankle support.
Yeah.
I'd rather you play in Converses, bro.
Right.
Oh, no, not Converse. Our man Parlay Post said the Columbus Aviators this month. Make sure you tune in to them. Go out there and get you a ticket. I heard season tickets are pretty cheap too. So go out there and support the Columbus Aviators. Anytime you get a team in Columbus, like SEC Sean said, we need to be supporting the Blue Jackets. We need to be supporting the Aviators and any other team that we got in Columbus except for maybe the Buckeyes.
You know the Aviators is really Buckeyes though. Ted Ginn is the coach.
Oh yeah, okay, cool.
So you going see a whole
guy. I really like Ted again, man. He's an upstanding. He's a good dude, bro. He's a good dude.
Yeah. So watch. You gonna see a bunch of Buckeyes on that team. I ain't even looked up the roster yet, but I bet you see a bunch of Buckeyes on that team.
That's
cool.
He said anything but the Buckeyes. Come on, Paul. Hey, love and hate is a thin line, baby.
All of them. Think about it. The Blue Jackets are close to the playoffs. You got the Aviators kicking up. The Clippers are fixing to fire back up for AAA for the Guardians. The Crews kicked off and going. You got plenty of things to do. Weather's nice. Get outside. Go check. You got Columbus. Columbus. Don't they have a volleyball team too? I think they got one of those professional volleyball teams too there.
They probably do.
I think they do. But I mean, go out and support. I mean, these teams like the Aviators and the Clippers and stuff, those are going to be guys that are going to be maybe in the NFL. Maybe they get another shot at the NFL. Maybe some of these players on the Clippers, you'll see them in the Guardians up there playing for Cleveland. I mean, and it's cheap. It ain't expensive. So
Yeah, it's not expensive at all. Yeah, Paulie Poe said women's volleyball. Yep, we do got a team here in Columbus. Well, we all know that spring football is getting ready to start cranking up. So everybody be paying close attention to your team so you can give us updates on what's going on in spring ball for all of your teams, because we got about 7 or 8 different teams that run through this channel with all of the guys that join it. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day here on this fine Saturday. Here in Columbus, it's 70 degrees already. So we're trying to enjoy this thing. Get out there, get some body moving, and have a good Saturday. And we'll see you again tomorrow morning. Our man, One Take Zaya, will be heading up the show, and I know he's going to have a banger for us.
what time
All
we
right,
going
y'all.
tomorrow? What time we going tomorrow? 10? Because we
9
lose an
a.m.
hour tonight.
9 a.m.
Remember, you lose an hour of sleep tonight.
Yeah, 9 a.m.
Oh man.
Just go to sleep an hour early.
I know Rob mentioned that we follow 7 or 8 teams on this channel, but most of those are mainly Moss's teams. Just to follow about 95 of them. So
All right, y'all have a good one. Peace.
y'all be good. Peace.